Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Storied Church podcast. My name is Jason, and I'm so glad you are here. Thank you for taking time out of your day to listen. If you're new and this is your first time here with us, I really hope you find your time with us meaningful. We would love to meet you and get to know you, and you can find a couple of ways to do that on our website at storiedchurch.org, at storied, S-T-O-R-I-E-D, church.org, or you can find us on social media, and we would love for you to follow us on Instagram and or Facebook at Storied Church. We hope that our sermons and our ruminations are thoughtful and meaningful reflections that help us take our next steps together on our journey. Enjoy. Well, thank y'all so much for bringing the body of Christ into this space. I'm really excited about the next few weeks as we're going in what seems to be an enduring and forever election season. For the next few weeks, I want to talk about what it means to build bridges, and so there'll be different and various people from the community that will be joining us, and we'll get to know a little bit about their stories. And so I'm really excited about that. And also, I just want to thank Seneca for coming today on Sunday. Some local leaders, I won't mention names, some are like, can we do it any other Sunday? Not any other, but any other day of the week. And I'm like, church is like the main place that my people come to. They don't like if I say Monday, there'll be like 2 people there. Wednesday night. Yeah, Wednesday. Yeah. Well, that might be I'm a little bit more saucier there, so I don't know if that's But today, school board member, Alamance County, Seneca Rogers is here, and I'm honored to take the next few minutes to speak with him. He's a passionate advocate for educational equity and community development, a Burlington native. Seneca's journey is a testament to resilience and commitment, and we are eager to hear his insights and experiences as he continues to drive positive change in our community. And so welcome, Seneca. Nice seat for you. I'm probably more nervous than you. If someone would... So I've provided Seneca with all these questions, but I'll try to stick to my questions because I know sometimes I go off. Yeah, it's an issue. But just wanted to take the first few moments just to tell a little bit about yourself and kind of how you landed where you are.
Okay. Well, like Jason said, I grew up in Burlington. One thing I always post on Facebook is just a kid from East Burlington, because that's where I grew up at. Graduate of Cummins High School and of North Carolina A&T State University. Yeah, always got to shout out that Aggie pride. Like I was telling my buddy Levon. I mean, I see you with that Eagle stuff and all of that, but I tell Levon that Aggies are everywhere, so always be on the lookout. But also been married to my wife, Shakitha. Next month it'll be 16 years. That's amazing that she continues to show back up at the house. I'm very happy about that because I feel like I won in that deal. So for her to continue to be there, we don't have any biological kids, but we have a niece and nephew who we're very heavily involved in their life. I mean, just this week, I was emailing my nephew's teachers to let them know about an appointment that he had going on. Just last night, we were on the phone with my nephew and her sister about the fact of where y'all at, what are y'all doing, why has nobody called us and everything. So, but then also too, in my role on the school board, I always say I have 22,000 children. Because I care about all of them. My mother and father, they're still both living. My father lives in Green Level. My mother lives in Burlington, basically in the house that I grew up in. And those two are the ones who I always attribute my push and advocacy for education, because they advocated for me so much in education. My father always told me, you can be good in all your things athletically, but your education is something that can never go away from you. It's something that it can never be stopped, and you can always have that. He always told me this thing: whenever you walk into a room, always make sure that you're educated in something to be able to be a part of the conversation, so they cannot leave you out of the conversation. So that's always been a big thing that I ride on and sit on. And what's brought me to this moment is my care about the next generation. When I was at North Carolina A&T, I had the opportunity to be a part of a mentoring group with kids in the middle school there. And so I met them, talked to them. They would have various challenges, trying to keep them encouraged and show them different ways of how they can get to what they're trying to get to. And then when I came back to Burlington after graduation, I was coaching at my old high school for a little while with the track team, talking to the kids then. Then that's when I started attending school board meetings, because the kids was talking about the challenges they were going through, talking with their parents about different things and how they were saying they were not being heard. They always felt left out. And I knew that feeling because I grew up in that same neighborhood, and we always felt left out, and we had to just huddle together to make stuff happen. And so I wanted to get more involved and understand what was happening, so then I can advocate for people in the right kind of way. So I've probably been attending school board meetings regularly since probably like 2017. And within that time, I've probably only missed maybe like 3 meetings that's done happened, because I felt like if I'm going to advocate or be a person who's in the know, I need to see what they're doing, what they're talking about. And yes, I've ran for school board. This time is actually my 3rd time running. I lost the previous 2 times, was the next person in line. Both was not like these big blowouts. It was not that far from me being able to get that seat. But then when Patsy Simpson stepped down, it was a vacant seat. And for a while, they took their time on who they were going to put in their seat. But I appreciate all the people who then stood up for me to advocate for me to get that seat. And in December, I actually was appointed to that seat. And I feel like my appointment to that seat was my willingness and faithfulness to continue to show up. Because even when I lost, I continue to be at school board meetings, continue to make public comments, continue to stay involved in what was happening in the community. Because, as I even say now, with being on the school board, I feel like you have to have a person in that seat who you can see, who you can talk to out there in the community, who you always seeing showing up. Because our kids, our educators, our school system needs people who are willing to always show up for them, because they're showing up every day.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. So today, in the amazing sermon that I will preach, it's really good. You're going to enjoy it.
I'm pretty sure of it.
There's a lot of hand clapping like this. But we're talking about Legion and this person who is demon possessed and pretty much isolated by his community because, in my view, mental illness. He was a problem that no one could solve. And when Jesus was leaving, after Jesus healed him, like most people, get me out of here. I don't want to be near these people. These people have harmed me. These people have done really bad things in the community. Get me out of here so I can go somewhere else and make a positive impact. And for this person, Jesus is like, no, you're the perfect person to go back to your people and to tell them what miraculous things have happened in your life. And I've thought about, you're a Burlington native, and probably could make an impact in other progressive places where your voice would be heard. Why stay?
I stay here because this is where I grew up. This is where my impact can have the most value. Because yes, I could go to an Orange County, a Chapel Hill, a Durham, probably up to like Greensboro, Guilford County, and it probably wouldn't be the same challenge that it is here. But I always say that Alamance County is truly ground zero. That is where the battlefield is. That is where we need people to stand up and be willing to be that voice of change. And so why run away from the community that I grew up in instead of being here with it? And that's what I always want to do, because there's a kid who looks like me, grew up in the same type of situation like me, and I feel like they can see me and realize you can do that. I'm just a regular person. I just decided one day, let's jump in that arena and see what happens. And I brought along some people with me into it, and I continue to try to pull more folks into it, because I feel like if I can show you that really a regular person can make such a dramatic impact, why can you not be that other regular person to make that impact?
Yeah, beautiful. Here's the question that I didn't ask you, but okay, so most of us are sitting here, and I imagine in the back of my mind going, I don't have any biological kids, so why do I need to even care about the school board or what's happening in the schools? It doesn't impact me. What would you say to that person that to get civic, maybe not run for office, but to get civically involved? And maybe we say, I don't need to get civically involved. I'm too busy. I don't have time. I don't want to do that. I'm pretty sure you had all those excuses, not to get involved.
Right. One of my really good friends, Dreamer Caldwell, she says this thing all the time. She was like, people will tell you they don't want to play politics or they don't want to get involved in politics. She was like, but politics is going to end up getting you involved. They're going to end up doing something either from the school board level, county commissioner, city council, state, that is going to impact your everyday life. And so you need to be involved. You need to have your voice a part of it. You're a taxpayer in that community. You are a part of that community. And these kids and educators, they're probably your neighbors. They are folks in your neighborhood. I have this whole thing of we are the neighborhood. And that is a part of a concept of how I grew up, being a part of my neighborhood, where if my parents couldn't come, my neighbors would show up. If we rode to school together, carpools and different things like that, you always looked out for your neighbors. Even if you do not have biological kids, even if it seems like the volume of politics sounds ridiculous, you can change that volume. You can change that sound. You can change that narrative by you getting involved in it. It doesn't have to be running. Your vote is really so powerful, because it is truly the power of the people that makes that change. And so that's what I tell folks all the time. You can say oh, these politicians, they have all the power. No, they don't. You do. So let's start handing that power back to the people, because that's where it really lies at.
Yeah, I think that's great to reframe the narrative that we probably often tell us is that we have no power, and so then we just kind of check out. As most of us are not in a political seat, there's probably rare stories that we have seen a politician do a courageous move, to go against the grain, or to stand up for something that they might have not believed in at first. Is there a constituent that has come to you and has shared something with you that you might have disagreed with from maybe when you're running, but they kind of convinced you just because of their story of seeing something a different way?
One of the things I think about with that is this past year with the school system, it was so many various challenges. And one of those came around funding issues. And it really hit with different positions, where it was like guidance counselors, social workers, graduation coaches, school instruction assistants and stuff. And started seeing where people were sending emails trying to show you the value of their position versus another position. And at first, I didn't fully understand what the roles of our graduation coaches were in our schools. And so I was like, support services, I'm thinking about our guidance counselors, school nurses, social workers, psychologists and stuff. And then I was like, okay, we have these guidance counselors here, or these instructional specialists, but what are they really doing? Like, I didn't understand what their role was. So when we started talking about those things, I was like, okay, well, maybe to keep all of these, they would have to go away. But then I ended up having a conversation with a student and their mother about the impact that their graduation coach had on them, and how he felt like without the graduation coach that he had showing up, reaching out to them, at times actually coming to their house to make sure they were coming into school to help them, because they were like, this is your senior year. This is it. Like, let's get to this finish line of graduation, and then you can get on to the next thing. That then started showing me what it is they're truly doing. What is that impact that they're having with our kids all the time? It was not just about having them graduation coaches to make sure that the graduation rate looked good from the outside. These were people who were truly invested in seeing these kids graduate. And I guess you can say my ignorance to all of what that position entailed and what all they did, then it ended up changing my mind to the fact of when we got into that conversation, that then I was like, oh no, like, we really just need, like, any way that we can keep that graduation coach and that instructional specialist, we need to try to figure it out. We got to exhaust it all the way out to the whole means. And so I kept on in our meetings talking about that. How do we exhaust this? While others might be talking about, well, we need to do these things. Like, no, how can we continue to keep these positions? So that was a little bit of a battle, but I appreciate the fact of them coming to me and talking to me directly about it and how that was going to be an impact, because I did not want it to turn into these folks over here battling these people over here, because we're all one school system. I don't want folks to feel like they have to prove to me the value of their position to keep it.
Wonderful. So you're a leader that listens. That's wonderful. My last question I stole from somebody. If you had a freebie that you can get the school board members together and they say, all right, you get one freebie and we'll all agree with you. We don't care what it is. Don't want to give them that freebie, though. Only you get that freebie. That you can make any change. What would it be?
So I've been thinking about that one since you sent it to me. Because I was like, ooh, just one freebie is so many things I want to jump into with this. And so the one that I came down with is, because I feel like it can encompass so many things, is fully funding public education.
Say more.
Yeah. I'll say it again, fully funding public education. And when I say that, I've even asked people that each time that I done ran, but then just other times when I talk to folks, and I'm like, what does a fully funded public school look like to you? And you get so many different answers. And I think the reason why we get so many different answers is because we've never seen it. And if you've never seen something, you can't even imagine what it looks like, but it does make your mind wander to what it can look like. Like for me, it can be, one, paying our teachers as professionals like they are, paying our educators the right rate. It can be the fact of not having leaking roofs and HVACs who works properly. It can be better technology throughout our schools. It can be having full staff of bus drivers. It can be our buses being better security systems. It can be more support services. It can, like, to where it's not one guidance counselor to every 550, almost 600 students. We can start to break down that ratio. We can break down the ratio of what the class size looks like or whatever. It can be the fact of having a plan to build more schools, looking at the projection of what your population looked like, instead of Like we just built that new high school, and I tell folks this all the time. That new high school, to me, was about 5 to 10 years late if we were really looking at the projections of the growth of the community. Right now, we should probably be building 2 more elementary schools and another middle school because we're continuing to grow. I mean, it can be the fact of not handing over taxpayer dollars to private schools because then the money for our public schools is staying where it needs to be. It can be offering more career technical opportunities for students. It can, like I said, I can go on and on because it can be so many things. It can just like allow for folks to get in the room and let your imagination run to what a fully funded public school system would look like. So that would be my one freebie because I feel like it's going to hit a lot of things and encompass so much into what public education can be.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Seneca. I really appreciate you coming and for you sharing with us, and it's obviously impactful, and so thank you again for being here. We are so grateful as a community, and thank you.
I appreciate you.
Again, we want to thank you for listening today to the Storied Church podcast. We really hope that we get to meet you soon. And again, you can visit us at storiedchurch.org, or you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook. We hope that you have a wonderful week. Hi, everyone. It's Jason again. And before you go today, I just wanted to take one moment of your time. Maybe you are a regular attender at Storied Church, or somebody that has found our podcast and you're just listening and you find it valuable. I just want to ask a huge favor. Our church is located in North Carolina, Alamance County, and we are one of the only open and affirming, reconciling, progressive, whatever word you want to label on that church here in Alamance County. And so we're just a really important voice of hope in this place. Every organization, including ours, takes funding, and the church has changed, and so we're trying to be creative in our funding. But I know it's a different ask, that especially if you don't live here in North Carolina. But if you would support us or consider supporting us with a one-time gift or even a monthly gift, it would mean the world. And thank you so much for even considering. You can give by going to storiedchurch.org/give. I hope you do. We would love your partnership and your friendship. Thanks again.